In this video, I'm going to show you the benefits of using continuous integration and delivery with Bitrise. You'll see automations that I've set up, so anytime I push code to my feature branch, over on Bitrise, they'll run my app on their Mac infrastructure, which has the latest maxed out Mac minis. It'll build my app, run my unit tests, run my UI tests in parallel, all in a fresh environment, to make sure my code stays healthy as I'm committing changes. This automates the testing process so I don't have to remember to run my tests manually. They're just gonna happen in the background automatically, and that will help me catch bugs as they're being introduced into the code, not a couple days later when I'm reviewing my pull request for this big feature. This is the continuous integration part of things, where my code is being tested automatically as it's being integrated along the way. And when my feature is all done, my feature branch gets merged into main, this kicks off another automation flow that makes sure all my tests are passing. It will archive my project, handle all the code signing stuff, and upload a build to App Store Connect so that it's ready on test flight. And this ensures my testers are testing the latest and greatest build with my brand new feature. And this all happens automatically in the background. This is the continuous delivery part, where new builds are available for testing as soon as they hit the main branch. Or whatever branch you designate, maybe the dev branch is your working branch, you can customize that. But the point is, this happens automatically in the background. You don't have to do it or think about it. And I want to thank Bitrise for sponsoring today's video. Bitrise is a continuous integration and delivery platform for mobile DevOps that automates a lot of the painful and mundane work around building, testing, and shipping your app. Their Mac infrastructure always has the fastest maxed out spec Mac minis available and the latest version of Xcode even during the beta season. And you know, if you're developing during the beta season, that's very important to stay up to date on the latest stable beta of Xcode. And it's pretty simple to set up these automation workflows in their user interface. They actually have a lot of pre-built workflows for the more common tasks, so you can be up and running in no time. So check out bitrise.io, start your 30-day free trial today, and start experiencing the benefits of continuous integration and delivery for yourself. First, let's talk about the continuous integration workflow. Remember, that is where, as I'm committing changes and pushing them to my feature branch, the tests are running on Bitrise in the background to ensure that I catch bugs as they are introduced to the code, not days later. So to do that, I have a very basic demo project that is a habit tracker. You can see there's 3 habits down here: study Swift, lift weights, drink water. And then when I do a habit on that day, I get the appropriate colored dot on the calendar. So that's the base project we're using. And before you get worried about the code doesn't matter. We're talking about the automations in the test running in the background. This is not a habit tracker tutorial. But what I've been working on is this new feature. If I go to my GitHub desktop client, you can see I have a branch called streaks. So I am working on a feature, if you go back to the app here, where it is going to determine if the user is currently on a streak for a particular habit. And if so, it is going to show an icon. Here we'll do study Swift, lift weights, drink water. You can see lift weights, I'm on a 2-day streak. Drink water, I'm on a 5-day streak. You can see there's 5 blue days. And if you look here, if I go back to the 26th and uncheck water, my streak goes down to 4. If I check it, it goes up to 5. And if I go to March 31st, which is today, check it, it goes up to 6. So the feature I built is calculating streaks and showing them in the UI. And again, I have my own branch for this, streaks. So when I commit this code, it is going to kick off an automation workflow that will run the test to make sure all my tests are passing and I didn't introduce any new bugs in this commit. Now let's go to the Bitrise website to walk through this workflow and show you what's going to happen when I actually commit this code to my streaks branch. So over to Chrome, here's my dashboard and here's the workflow editor. So you see I have the run test workflow, and there's multiple other workflows. The archive and export app, that's what we're gonna do later when we actually upload to test flight. But for now, we're gonna look at our run test workflow. So you can see the steps in the workflow here. Activate the SSH key so we can get access to GitHub. Clone the repository. Now, the key here is what happens on this remote machine that Bitrise has, this Mac Mini, is it creates a fresh install on a fresh machine. Now, this is important because this solves the it works on my machine, why doesn't it work on your machine, right? Have you ever had that happen where a teammate pulls down your pull request, tries to run it, and it doesn't work on their machine? That's because their local machine, their laptop, can get into a weird local state, and your laptop can also get into a weird local state that may either cause bugs or cause issues, or it can sometimes mask an issue that's there. So the fact that this builds your app, runs all your tests on a brand new machine, on a brand new install, really gives you the true essence of like what's going on without any local things going on each machine, messing things up. So we clone the repository, run a fresh build, run the unit test and the UI test in parallel, and then it will deploy to Bitrise. So this means it will upload the test report, all kinds of information about the build up to Bitrise. That way, if something does go wrong with the test, we can dive into the test report and see what's going on to fix our issue. And there's multiple configurations you can do and properties and triggers. Let's talk about the triggers, because all of this is a little out of scope for this video, because real quick disclaimer, this is not a how to set up Bitrise, how to actually use Bitrise, what all these buttons do type tutorial video. That would be way longer of a video and just way more in depth. The purpose of this video is to show you how this workflow works and how indie developers or teams will use continuous integration and delivery in iOS development. So you can set up what triggers this run test workflow. Right now you can see anytime we push or bring a pull request into, well, this branch is a star. Well, the star is kind of like a wildcard. So if we add trigger, you can see if you leave it blank, Bitrise will start builds for any branch. So we're gonna do our run test anytime a commit gets merged into a remote branch. So that can be a feature branch or whatever. Now again, you can customize your triggers to be whatever you need it to be. But for us, anytime code gets pushed to a remote branch, we want to run the test to make sure it's working. We don't want to specify a specific branch. But just to point this out, we only want to run the archive and export app workflow. We'll come back to this in a second. When we push to main, then you run the archive, export, upload to test flight. So that's an example of two different triggers and how you would use them. But again, just for run test, we just want to run the test. We're going to do that anytime code is committed to a remote branch. Now, like I said before, this run test is pretty much out of the box. I didn't set this up myself. I didn't have to know the proper order. Like I said, Bitrise will give you the more common workflows right out of the box to get you set up. However, if you do want to add a step here in between wherever you want, you can click this plus button and then you see this whole library of steps. I'm gonna slowly scroll and then I'm gonna start to go fast because you can see there are a ton and obviously you can search for one you're looking for. So you can customize these automations, these workflows to be whatever you want. But again, Bitrise starts you off with the standard workflow that is going to work for the vast majority of you. Okay, so as I've pointed out, when I push this commit here to the streaks branch that I've been working on, this run test workflow will kick off and it will show up. Here I'm clicking on the Bitrise CI here. This is my list of latest builds. Here, this is from a couple days ago when I was testing this and rehearsing this video. So I kind of have to do this live. So hopefully this all works. It worked in rehearsal. So anyway, let me go ahead and commit this code and we should see a new build kickoff that will run the test and hopefully they all pass. So I'm gonna go to GitHub desktop here. Okay, here's my feature. I wrote a bunch of new unit tests to test all the streak stuff. Same thing with UI tests. And then here's like all the UI, basically all the code. Again, code's irrelevant, but I wanted to show you that this is the feature I've been working on. Now, in real life, you're probably not gonna build your whole feature in one commit. And that's the power of continuous integration. You can just keep testing along the way as you're committing little by little. So if something does break, it's very easy to find out what happened. But for the sake of the video, I'm only gonna commit once to show you how the build works. So the video is not terribly long. So okay, we'll say implemented streaks. And then I'm going to commit files to streaks, hit push to origin. There you go, push it up to origin, which is the remote branch. So now when I go to Bitrise here, I will hit refresh. I should see a new build. There we go, you can see the build just starting. And if I click into it, you can follow along and see what is happening. But again, in real life, you are probably going to commit this and then continue working on the next commit, or maybe go off to lunch or do whatever. Or you're not gonna sit here and watch the build. Now, this will take a couple minutes, so I'm gonna edit out the downtime, but I'll come back like just as they finish and then we can continue on. And my test started, and again, you can follow along in the console here. It's gonna show you step by step. Like I said, this is gonna take a couple minutes, so we're not gonna sit here and watch it, but I wanted to give you an example of, you can watch and follow along step by step what's going on and see any issues that arise. So far, so good. We'll come back when this is all done. All right, as you can see, success. This is telling me I have a bottleneck here, view and insights. This is out of the scope of this video. This didn't happen in rehearsal, but I want to show it to you just to show you. It will point out test cases with the most flaky runs. So apparently I need to clean up my test case on test create habit sheet can't open. So I need to go revisit that test, see what's going on there. But it will point out when your tests are flaky, so that's pretty nice. But overall, the test passed, we're good to go. That just caused the build to go a little slower and all the tests to run a little slower. But we have success here. And the reason this takes a couple minutes is because remember, it's firing up a brand new virtual machine for you. It is cloning your repository. It is running all your unit tests. It is running all your UI tests in parallel. It is building your app. So there's a lot going on, so it takes a couple minutes, but we have success. And again, you're off doing the next commit or you're doing something else. This is going on in the background. You can come back a couple minutes later and be like, okay, great. That commit was good to go. Cool, I can continue working. Or if this said fail and you saw the proper errors, you know right away that you can go back and fix those issues. And you'll know right where to look rather than 5 commits later, you got to go back and dig on where did this bug get introduced. So again, that's the power of continuous integration. Now for continuous delivery, if we go back to edit workflows, we'll go to archive and export, and this may look familiar. It gets the SSH key, clones the repo, runs the test, because again, you want to test it after things have been merged into main before you're pushing out a test flight build. You want to make sure all the tests are passing for all the new changes. And then a new step is Xcode archive and export. Again, you can still upload everything to Bitrise so you can have all the test reports in the archives. And then the next new step is this deploy to App Store Connect. Now, for this step, there's a little bit more setup. You got to set up your App Store Connect API key. You have to upload your dev and development certificate to Bitrise. So there's a little extra steps, but Bitrise's documentation does a great job of walking you through all that, and it's not too difficult. Okay, so now if I go back to GitHub and I have my current branch of streaks, you see I can create a pull request. So once my branch gets merged in the main, all this is gonna run, we're gonna run the test, we're gonna archive it, upload it to App Store Connect, and then release it to test flight automatically. Now, quick note, I'm using the release to test flight example because the vast majority of you watching, that's what you're gonna use. But Bitrise can handle, like say you're a larger company or a larger team and you do these, internal builds that are only for you or enterprise builds. Bitrise can also handle that as well. I'm just showing the test flight example because that's what most of you watching are gonna use. Okay, so let's go back to the GitHub desktop. Let's create this pull request. See, we're opening a pull request, implemented streaks, going into main, able to merge, go ahead and create the pull request. And you see right away, it says some checks haven't completed yet, one pending, one successful check. So if we look, there's a Bitrise build going on and GitHub knows like, hey, this can't be merged yet, like our check hasn't been completed. Okay, so we'll go back to the Bitrise dashboard and wait for this to finish. Okay, we got success there. If I go back to GitHub, cool, it says all checks have passed. So now when we merge this into main, so let's go ahead and merge the pull request, confirm merge, we are merging streaks into main. So now back to Bitrise, go back to our builds here. Now the archive and export app build has kicked off. So now, while this is running, right, this is the archive and export. So this will, in the background, archive the project, do all the code signing stuff, and upload it to test flight. Now, while this is running, let me go to App Store Connect here, do a refresh to show you this is where we're at. Hopefully I don't have to log in again, good old App Store Connect. Okay, so build 2 is already up on test flight. So once this is done running, this archive and export, when I refresh App Store Connect, we should see build 3 there automatically. And then once it's done processing, that takes a few minutes as well. We'll see it down here in ready to submit. And this automation depends on how you have your test flight set up. And this is going to be unique to your development team. Because for my test flight, and I bet a lot of indie developers test flight, you just have an internal testing, and anytime you upload a build to test flight, it just automatically shows up on test flight and you can download it. However, if I was doing an external beta, that doesn't automatically happen. I have to go through and manually release it, but I don't run a lot of external betas. So I do want to point that out, that once it's uploaded to App Store Connect, however you have your test flight set up is kind of what takes over from there. So that could be unique to you. But what's going to happen for me, it's going to upload it. You're going to see version build 3 here. It's going to go down to ready to submit. And then I can open up my phone and immediately see build 3 ready to download right on my phone. I didn't do anything. So let me go back to this build here. Hopefully all this works out. And again, you can follow along in the console, what's going on, step by step, see where anything, goes awry. Hopefully this doesn't. But yeah, you can follow along in the console. So let's go back up. Like I said, I'll edit out this running and we'll come back just as it completes, and then I can walk you through what happens. All right, as you can see, we have success. And before I move on to App Store Connect, I want to show you artifacts. I forgot to mention this earlier. You can see there's your IPA file, all the stuff that gets uploaded to Bitrise. You can see your XC results to download your test report. Tests are fine, so maybe you're not going to download this one, but if something broke and something went wrong, you can download the test report and check it out and see what was going on. So you do get all that as well. Back to the build log. Again, that's where we were. So now if I go to App Store Connect and I hit refresh, we should see build 3. Yeah, build 3, processing. Now, once this processes, after a couple minutes, it'll show up down here in ready to submit, and then I can open up my phone and see build 3. All right, let's hit refresh to see if we're done processing. All right, it showed up in ready to submit. So let me see if it's done processing yet. Maybe I got it at just a weird time. There we go, it's complete. Now it's in ready to submit, internal. Now if I grab my phone, pull up test flight, there you go. I see build 3 ready to download. I didn't have to archive it. I didn't do any of it. It just happened all automatically. And that is the power of continuous delivery. Now, another cool thing here in the new world of AI agents, and I actually saw Donnie Walls talk about this on his blog, check out this scenario. You send off your agents, whether it's Codex, Cloud Code, whatever you're using, they do all this work that they're doing, and you set it up so they submit a pull request when they're done. And you can be out and about, oh, my agent's done working. It submitted a pull request. You can review the pull request on the GitHub app right from your phone, and barring it's a relatively small change that you can actually check it out on your phone. Okay, cool, looks good. Merge into main. And if you have all this Bitrise CI/CD set up, the test pass, it's good. And then when you hit merge into main from your phone, you could be out to lunch, you could be out and about doing whatever you're doing. A couple minutes later, boom, a test flight build shows up on your phone. You can download it right away. You were out to lunch. You didn't open up Xcode at all. You didn't do anything. And you merged a pull request and got a new test flight build with the new feature right on your phone so you can test out and about. I just think that's a really cool scenario and kind of where things are heading. But that is enabled by this CI/CD setup from Bitrise. So hopefully this video showed you the power of having that continuous integration and delivery setup. Check out bitrise.io, start your free trial today. And there's a cool little challenge here. Based on what you saw me set up in my workflows on the running tests and the deploying to test flight, can you ship a new iOS feature in under 15 minutes? Can you do a commit? Run your pull request checks, unit tests, parallel UI tests, and get it up to test flight all automatically. You can go ahead and start your challenge there. And you can see for yourself just how powerful having CI/CD setup is. So again, check out Bitrise, start your 30-day free trial, and we'll see you in the next one.